I don't understand why the media is downplaying Russian assets. Zelensky came to the United States. What did he bring with him to the White House? I know what we gave them: smart bombs, technology, and uh, pardon me, and Patriot missiles. The smart bomb technology. Well, let me just give y'all an education real quick. This is thrust vectoring technology. And yes, the United States has it with the F-35. Um, yeah, I mean, obsolete, multi-billion-dollar waste pits is the F-22, F-35, because we're at the sixth generation. The F-22 is supposed to be, and look at these maneuvers. These maneuvers are insane. Oh, come on. And
Many believe it would have been a close contest. America's jets and pilots against Russia's. But they would have approached the battle very differently.
Kind of the whole philosophy of Russian fighters is rugged nature, max performance, passive weapons, ease of maintenance in the field. All those combine into one philosophical bent that is quite different from Western fighters.
Practical, almost primitive side that baffles Western observers. Increasingly, the West has come to rely on computer-driven planes and weaponry, surgical bombing, and air battles that take place beyond visual range.
Good kill!
Russia lacks this high level of electronic warfare and is currently in severe economic trouble. Yet, those who study the Russian Air Force say it would be foolish to dismiss them. There are many striking contrasts between Russian and American air bases, not the least of which is overall appearance. In the United States, daily FOD sweeps for foreign object damage clear the flight line of the smallest bits of litter that could wreck a jet engine. At Russian airfields, metal scrap is tossed in the open. The grass is allowed to grow tall, even on the runways. Birds, lethal to an engine if sucked inside, gather freely in the fields around the tarmac. To the Russians, there is an undeniable logic behind the mess. After all, the field of combat would hardly be cleaner.
Walking around a Russian airbase is quite a unique experience for an American who is used to seeing everything picked up and nothing that can get in the airplane. And here that isn't the case. It doesn't need to be.
Russian jets are designed to perform in less than ideal conditions. Retractable titanium grates protect the engine intakes on the Su-27, 30, and 35. The MiG-29 has doors that automatically shut on its intakes to keep them from inhaling debris. During takeoff and landing, the MiG's engine breathes through slits at the top of the wings.
They build airplanes like tanks. The U.S. Air Force and the West builds airplanes like fine watches.
The primary jet of the U.S. Air Force is the single-engine F-16 Fighting Falcon. It provides excellent visibility, the fastest, tightest turn rate of anything in the air, and pilot comfort. The lightweight plane fits around the pilot like a glove. He doesn't so much fly this jet as wear it.
The F-16 is the Porsche of airplanes. I mean, it handles great.
Real quick, did you hear that? The pilot doesn't ride the airplane this much, wears it. That goes into, basically an exoskeleton, right? Food for thought. I mean, just like being mechanized, being in a tank, we're one with that machine. It's a hybrid. It's Alan Thomas.
It goes fast. It feels good. Your seats recline to help you with the G-forces. Everything's right out here like a big video game, and it's a sweet ride.
While the Russians admire American planes, they consider them almost too delicate for the rigors of war.
Our military aircraft was designed for battle. It's built for war, not to just stand there and look pretty. Here, behind me, you have an example of this. You can't break this plane. You could land it on its fuselage, and they'd come out, pick it up, lower the landing gear, clear the engine, and you could take off again.
We go at it with a scalpel, trying to very, very carefully hone the capability, build the weapon. They go at it with a sledgehammer.
The Russians also claim they have the best ejection seat in the world, seen here in test footage. The seat propels the pilot out and away from the fuselage with a force of 20 Gs, while restraining his arms and legs.
You know, it's bad manners here to compare what's mine to what's yours. But when I flew in the F-18, it took half an hour to buckle me into the seat. It's just not practical. In the final analysis, this can really reduce the battle readiness of America's Air Force. Here, we just jump in and buckle up. In your planes, one person can't do it himself. You've got hands and legs going everywhere.
So, you see efficiency and durability. Like, Russians are pretty adequate, in the war.
Russian jets also have fire-resistant fuel tanks, which kept this MiG-29 crash on takeoff from exploding into a deadly inferno. This formation flying is not as innocent as it appears. Unlike the U.S. Navy Blue Angels, who fly special stripped-down F-18s, Kubinka pilots fly the same military jets they would take into battle, and they alternate between aerobatic drills and training for actual combat.
I can be flying loop-the-loops here today, and tomorrow I'll be at the military training ground dropping bombs and firing my cannon. And also, Our aircraft aren't sports aircraft. They're military aircraft. At any time, we can just load up some rockets and take off without any downtime in between. We wouldn't look forward to a conflict. If they ordered us to do it, well, then of course we would. But I personally wouldn't want to.
Pilots all love flying. That's what they love more than anything else. They don't love killing. That's not the issue. But to fly the most advanced and most wonderful airplanes, where are they? They're in the military. So you gravitate toward those powerful, beautiful, sleek airplanes.
Many believe
The U.S. expected to send Ukraine precision bomb kits that will turn existing unguided munitions or dumb bombs into precision-guided smart bombs known as Joint Direct Attack Munitions, or JDAMs, according to multiple U.S. officials. The kits add fins in a precision-guided system to the dumb munitions. Basically, if I just drop a bomb, from an airplane over target. I mean, that's why we did carpet bombing back in World War II, because there wasn't precision guidance. And so we just dropped a bunch of bombs to try to destroy targets. They're smaller and such, whereas JDAMs, they can be larger and they're more capable and we're able to, like you said, I don't need to be redundant. And Patriot missiles, those are Gulf War era. I mean, I think they're still effective. I think the weapon system is still, but there's a bunch of other things out there that are less expensive. Especially like the Phalanx, interceptor, and such. But yeah, we're given rid of our surplus to Ukraine, and the thing is, Russia has an advanced military. Why? Ukraine obviously doesn't, and the thing is that why haven't the Russians destroyed power plants and rail systems and critical infrastructure? There is the firepower. They have the firepower. They have the equipment. Don't be deceived by the media. Zelensky's a bad guy. And this shouldn't even be going on. It's just, I'm still trying to, understand why this has happened. I've got my theories, but with biolabs and human trafficking and things like that, but nothing confirmed. That's just supersonic. And notice the altitude. It's basically a cruise missile due to the flight path it takes. And it just stays. Come on, blasted phone. But
Вот ебать это!
oops.
Вот ебать это!
I don't know if this is real.
Ебать! Вот ебать это! Ебать!
I don't think it is. And like I've got you oriented this way, so
Боевая. 4, 3, 2. Корабль в точке. Пуск. Вот так выглядит пуск гиперзвуковой ракеты. Циркон открылась крышка шахты. Пошел такой мощный ударный. Здесь пуск, вертикальный подъем и полет от скорости до...
they actually censored that, like the missile.
Вот так выглядит пуск гиперзвуковой ракеты. Циркон открылась крышка шахты. Пошел такой мощный ударный. Здесь пуск, вертикальный подъем и полет от скорости до 9 махов.
That explosion is purely kinetic. Obviously, there's no. It doesn't look like there's any explosions on there.
Сход первый, отдельных замечаний нет. Внимание, расчет. Пуск. Есть пуск.
Air dominance in Ukraine. Step 1 of any invasion is to kill early warning radar, turn off the power, and attack command, control, and communications. Russia had some success, but the power is still on and cell phones are still working. The problem could be with deconfliction. You have to know where everybody is and where there's going, so there's no friendly fire. Russia's probably terrified of friendly fire, especially since both sides share similar looking equipment. Maybe Russia figured out they don't need air dominance. Fighters just need multiple hours of maintenance for every hour they fly. Just ask any maintainer how their weekend went. About 1/3 of all planes are down for maintenance at any given time. But Russia has a lot of old spare parts and airframes. And Ukraine doesn't. If Russia forces Ukraine into a high operational tempo, Ukraine's Air Force will ground itself due to lack of replacement parts. And that'll give the Russians air dominance without doing anything kinetic. This could be solved with a no-fly zone, but that would come with political consequences for NATO. Why hasn't Russia gained air dominance?
Oops, pardon me.
Чувак, буква В. Буква В, чувак, возле вертика прям стою. Обстрелянный нахуй вертолет. Буковка В.
That was pretty nasty gash.
Буква В, чувак.
I mean, the entire fucking wing is, like, the shroud around the wing is missing. The frame is still there. I mean, so survivability of that craft is pretty good, and that's like one of the newer technologies that's being deployed over in Russia. But just think the surplus that the Russians have from the Cold War of weapons. I mean, that's why we were getting hit with RKJ-3s and RPG-7s and AK-47s while in Iraq and Afghanistan. I was only in Iraq, not Afghanistan. But think about it. Why waste newer technology? Because we don't know how far this war is going to go. It might go a lot further than this. And then, so why use higher technologies and expose military power to a weaker force? It's don't be misguided by the lamestream media about the war in Ukraine.